Hi, this is Megan Dalton, and this is my second speech for my informative speech for Eastfield College for Speech 1311 with Professor Courtney Brazil. And here's my audience. Europe is a country of very rich culture and history. Their buildings have been around for centuries. I was fortunate enough to visit some of these main attractions and learn about the history surrounding each one. Each of these monuments have survived war and devastation and are still standing today. There are many sights to see in Europe, but three of them really stood out to me: the Colosseum, the Eiffel Tower, and St. Paul's Cathedral. First, I will talk about the history and what the Colosseum looked like. The Colosseum, located in Rome, Italy, was completed in 80 AD. It seated over 50,000 people, and it was used mainly for gladiator contests and to entertain the people of Rome. It was mostly damaged, though, by earthquakes and stone robbers. All this information that I just mentioned can be found at www.wikipedia.com. As you can see here, the Colosseum the photos do not do it justice at all. When I first saw it, it is immensely, immensely huge. I can definitely see the fact why the emperors built this Colosseum so they could hold all these so they could hold all the people in it, so they could see all the entertainment and vast culture that the Roman Empire has to hold. There were many statues around the edges, as you see here, of all the Roman emperors and the great warriors that fought in many of the wars and battles. So if you ever get a chance to visit the Colosseum when you're in Rome, Italy, I definitely recommend that you should. Next, I will discuss the history of the Eiffel Tower and what it looked like. The Eiffel Tower, located in Paris, France, was built by Gustave Eiffel in 1889. The main purpose that it was built for the International Exhibition of Paris. It was the tallest building until 1930. Also, the French didn't like it at first because they thought it was ugly. All of this information that I just mentioned can be found at thehistoryoftheeiffeltower.org. As you can see here, the Eiffel Tower is an immensely gorgeous monument of the French people. Of course, they didn't like it at first, though, because they thought it was ugly, and many people thought its main purpose was to be built for the exhibition and then it was to be torn down. But the designer, Gustave Eiffel, thought that it was so beautiful that he wanted to leave it as a symbol for the French people. When I was there, I could definitely see why it was the tallest building in the entire world. And there are 4 elevators located in the pillars here. I was fortunate enough to go to the middle section. The view from there was absolutely beautiful. You could see all of Paris, and that is why the Eiffel Tower is number 2 on my list of one of the greatest places I've seen in Europe. Thirdly, let's see what the history of St. Paul's Cathedral is and how it looked. This is St. Paul's Cathedral, located in London, United Kingdom. It was built in 1710, and in 1897, Queen Victoria chose to commemorate her Diamond Jubilee here. Also, most famously, the wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana was in 1981. The old cathedral was destroyed in the Great Fire of London, though. All of this information that I just mentioned can be found at historyofstpauls.org. As you can see, this is one of the many great, beautiful churches in London, the United Kingdom. It really is quite an extraordinary thing to see because of the architecture and wonderful things that the architect did to help make this one of the best churches in London, England. The dome, as you can see, was immensely, immensely huge. And the bells that we also got to hear when we were there were extremely, extremely loud. On one of the other sides of the church, there was also a statue of the wonderful and the famous Queen Victoria there, since she, as I mentioned, celebrated her Diamond Jubilee here as well. St. Paul's Cathedral, no matter if you're religious or not, is still a wonderful attraction to see because of its architect and beauty. Finally, let's see what we've learned throughout this experience of Europe's 3 biggest attractions. I recommend, if you ever visit Europe, that you go to these 3 places because they hold a lot of history and culture, especially for the cities that they originate in. Europeans treasure their old monuments, and this is clearly evident when you see it in person. Europe has been around much longer than America, so their understanding for history is much greater than our own. As they say in Europe, keep calm and carry on. Thank you.